Yay. All right. This is a redo of a last live stream that we just got into. We were like 3 hours in, but I got taken from my other account. So now I'm going to do this live stream as a structure that builds off of the last live stream, which no one can see because TikTok is keeping it all for themselves. The people at TikTok, they're like, no, Chase, you can't have it. We want this for ourselves. You can't share it with anyone. It's ours. So I'm going to do my best to not be super angry and frustrated as I readdress and re-talk about everything that I was building upon in that live stream, but now on a new account where I do not have the same people. This is not really my spiritual account. So this live stream is literally not even about having people in it at this point. So I have to rebuild upon everything that I shared in the last 3 hours from that live stream, all about the history of Jesus and how Masons created Jesus to justify the genocide of indigenous peoples that they actually worship behind closed doors, and how Jesus is an idea that Masons made up to give you to worship, but behind closed doors, they actually worship the indigenous peoples that they're using to steal this or steal everything from with this idea. So the whole point of Jesus is to create an excuse that allows these Masons to do what they otherwise wanted to do anyway. And then that's really just them weaponizing a bunch of wisdom that they stole from Mercury. And that's the whole point of Zoroastrianism. And you being aware that you are a child of God, and all a Mason can do to teach you that you need to worship them as a child of God, or them as the true creators of God, is to use what I'm telling you right now, what I was telling you in the last 3 hours before all that shit's gone. I don't even feel like doing this. I actually 100,000,000% do not feel like doing this. I started the last live at 11:11. It was nice. We had people in there. We had a bunch of engagement. This live is 3:33. I still don't have anyone in here. It's a different account. This is literally basically a dead account then at this point, versus my other account that is at least in some sort of live algorithm where I can have people in here. So cool. TikTok wins. TikTok took the live down. I don't get to keep going on what I was going on. And I lost 3 hours of completely solid content where I was dissecting and really getting into everything, all spirituality. I don't even feel like doing that shit again. I don't even know how I'm about to do this again, really, other than just being forced to say everything over. So cool. Bear with me. Everyone who's watching this live is watching it after the fact. This is literally actually me talking to myself alone. But I'm going to talk about everything that just happened in the last live before TikTok took that down and decided that I can't continue it and I can't have it. So, fuck. What was I talking about? I guess there's a lot of things. So this whole thing with Jesus, I have a moderator. His username is Kundalini, and this guy is claiming that he is Jesus. Man, there's just like 3 hours, so many details that I got into, and it all made sense. It's so wild how these companies and this system just gets to like literally take your time. Like that's what TikTok represents, taking time. 2 T's. Take the time of Tahuti Trismegistus. All they know how to do is steal a bunch of shit so they can keep it for themselves. And I'm forced to do everything over again, but now worse because I don't have the people in this live anymore. I don't have the actual engagement or algorithm. I'm just here talking to myself like I was before, but now I'm not talking to myself with people. Thus, again, I'm not actually getting to talk with others, because the point of a live is that you get to communicate with individuals outside of yourself live, and then they put comments down, and then you reply to those comments, and then they put more comments down, and they're commenting to what you're saying, and then it's a conversation. But the point is, I had to connect with myself first to even make it possible for you to have a conversation with me. So that's just innately spiritual. I, as a space, have to start creating a circumstance where I can express my soul if you're going to be able to listen to me in any way, shape, or form. Or if we're, again, going to create a circumstance where you can comprehend what I'm saying in any way, shape, or form. If you can't comprehend what I'm saying, then that's because you don't have the same sort of soul that I do. And then that would just mean that we're not really relating on the human experience. It's so weird. So how are people sharing my live? I'm getting a notification that my live's getting shared, yet there's 0 people in here.
No.
Yeah, I'm confused. So it's like talking about how, yeah, I don't know. So whatever. Like they took down the last live. I had more people, and now like something's this technology is garbage. So man, there's so much I was talking about and everything, and I don't even know like where to begin. Like I was beginning with my moderator who's not in here, named Kundalini, and basically this person, man, that last live was perfect. That last live was actually perfect. Like this is not even fun for me to watch. It's not fun to watch me be frustrated about trying to talk about what I was already talking about perfectly. This is garbage. Um, the whole point of this live is for me to address Jesus. The last live, I was creating a circumstance where I was hoping that I could get my moderator to come in and share with me his spiritual story. I wanted him to come in and share with me his story about how he's Jesus, because he's been hitting me up for months trying to share with me about how he's Jesus. And I came out in a live yesterday where I said that Jesus was stolen from Zoroaster. Jesus is stolen from all these ideas of Zoroastrianism. So when you know that Jesus is stolen from the ideas of Zoroastrianism, now you can go Google that. Again, like everything I say is Google, like just Google a shit. You're going to be able to see more of the connections of everything I'm making. So then it was just, I made the point to this moderator that I already have another friend who said that he was Jesus, and I've known many people who say that they're Jesus. So the point of this live and the point of yesterday was for me to communicate about how the idea of you being a child of God is stolen from me as Metatron, being a horror Mazda, creating astrology. And creating astrology is then where Zarathustra is the Taurus that makes connections real. And that's the idea of you actually being able to relate with a space outside of yourself. This is the point of astrology. So now you basically have Mercury and Masons on this earth. The space that is associated with Mercury is going to use astrology to communicate with you about how you created yourself. A Mason is going to listen to Mercury and then use Mercury's teachings to teach you how you did not create yourself. So you have 2 options. You either believe you created yourself, or you believe that you were created by something outside of yourself. Either way, you are experiencing life, you're experiencing your emotions, you're experiencing how you think and feel, and you're going to be expressing your individuality. It's just a matter of, do you feel like you are the individual that's expressing your individuality, or do you feel like another individual made it possible for you to experience what being an individual is, which means you're not an individual, but you had to learn about what it means to not be an individual for someone else, which paradoxically does mean you had to individually create a circumstance where someone else could teach you that you were not creative. So you're always going to then, once you end up getting wrapped up in a circumstance where you believe you're not creative, you're only going to use your creative power to support someone who's consuming your energy. That's what doing this TikTok live feels like now, where I did 3 hours of perfection with people who are highly engaged, and now I'm here having to rebuild everything that was stolen with no one. Also, I can build a structure, because the point is I save these lives. So if I want to save this live and save this information and save everything that I'm putting out, then I have to hop on my other account, and I have to let the Masons steal more of my information. I have to let the Masons steal more of my time, because otherwise I, as Mercury, won't be able to connect with you. You won't be able to see me. You won't be able to see what I'm saying. You won't be able to see the information I'm sharing, because the Masons that made TikTok stole it. objectively. They objectively stole it and kept it for themselves. So now it's up to me as Mercury to consistently express myself, which takes more fucking time. So now this is my day. This is now my entire Saturday, is talking to myself into a screen so that Masons can watch me and steal my information and then try to use it to further their agenda. So boom, this is what this government's always been doing. This is really all the people that created Judaism and Christianity know how to do. And they explicitly show it in all their religions. They explicitly show it in their systems and how they communicate and operate. They explicitly show that the only way that they can build a system is by stealing other individuals. The only way that they can be seen as the one true God is to tell you that you are not the one true God. That's the only way they can make you, as a God, create the circumstance where you see them as what you're not. So I'm infinitely pissed off because I'm just going to be here having to repeat everything that I already said in a way more enthusiastic, positive, and funny way. All because a live stream just got completely taken from me due to basically what it seemed like is people got offended that I was rejecting their projections. It seems that the last live stream got blocked because there was someone trying to tell me that Jesus was inside of me and Jesus is inside all of us. But then another commenter said, if Jesus was inside of us, then how could you teach us that we need Jesus and who Jesus is? Which was a perfect point. That's where I was not at all being mean to anyone. I was literally building upon that commenter like, yes, absolutely. How could someone teach us that Jesus is inside of us if Jesus is inside of us? If Jesus were inside of us, wouldn't we be teaching ourselves that Jesus is inside of us and we would not have to learn about who Jesus is from someone outside of us? So that's just a paradox. That's a contradiction. But for some reason, me pointing that out got the last live stream banned after 3 hours of just super hard wisdom as to how Jesus was created. So I have to try and reconfigure all my thoughts and ideas about how Jesus was created and what he means and the child of God. And fuck, it was just so nice because I was replying to people. We had a whole conversation. It was a very good conversation until for some reason one person can like shut down the whole live stream. Like a random person can come into your live and say way more offensive things to you. And then the moment they get attention from you, report you. And TikTok will support them by taking down your whole account. Now I can't go live on that account. I can't get that live back. And I'm forced to come to this account and repeat everything that I was sharing just so I can save the video for the long haul. Just so that I can actually have this school structure. So I hate this shit. Fuck. Like I was already saying in the last live stream that I wasn't choosing to be here. I'm definitely not choosing to be here now. Like, I hate this shit. I do not want to be alive here. This is a fucked up, ugly ass world. And it's only a fucked up, ugly ass world because ugly ass governments, ugly ass Masons have abducted everyone's minds to fight each other. Now, when people come in to learn from me, they're not even here to learn from me. They just come in to fight me. Like, really, like people just want to come in to fight me? Like, you really want to come in not to learn from me, but to shut down my live stream, to shut down what I'm sharing with you? Why the fuck would you come in to listen to me if you're really just coming in to shut things down? And this is, again, just exactly how Europeans had to build the Americas, by coming into lands that they did not own and then shutting things down by justifying genocide with an idea that was invented from Zoroastrianism. And I already had 3 whole hours of explaining Zoroastrianism and chakras, and I have to do all that shit again just for the sake of this structure. Just so that I can make sure I save this live stream, upload it on YouTube, upload it on the website, and can build upon it. The whole point of this live stream was, again, really to get one of my moderators, Kundalini, in here to speak about his big spiritual journey experience. But I do not want to seem like I'm about to come at it from the side of like setting him up. So I want him to know my perspective on Jesus, so that when he comes in and shares his story about how he realized he's Jesus, then we just have open communication. Then we can be like, oh, okay, so from this perspective, what does it mean for you to be Jesus? But this is just where, he hasn't come in. He didn't share his story because he decided not to at that time. It's probably because, maybe there's many reasons. That's also where life becomes projection is perception. I don't know what's going on in his head. That's why he would have to come up here and share his ego and his soul. He would have to share how he feels about how he thinks. And then from there, we'd have communication. Boom. That was the point of the last live stream. But then I was going hard on Jesus because, the truth is, you are a child of God. Every individual that is aware of their circumstance is a child of God. And this is a Zoroastrianism that I'm sharing. And everyone knows that Jesus is younger than Hermes. Like, this isn't hard to see. That's not hard to see. When you look up, these Masonic religions can do their best to say that they are the one true God, but they historically and objectively have to use the creations of gods that they stole from to express how they created everything. And now they're causing climate change because they're not actually created. I hate this. I'm spending my day having to do this again just because they get to steal my time and energy and attention. And the only way that I'm able to connect with people on their level is to get further lost in hell. Learn how to use words better. Learn how to connect with spaces outside of myself better. That's why now I have 2 fucking accounts. Woo, look at that. Chase learned how to connect with his space a little better, but not his space, fucking outer space, not inner space. Inner space Chase does not want anything to do with TikTok. Outer space Chase has to have 6 fucking accounts. Because this is what it takes to connect with outer space. But my inner space is happy alone. So this is what we're talking about with Hermeticism, okay? In heaven and hell. The heaven is you being happy alone. Hell is simply you being unhappy alone. The Masons, the people who created Jesus and Judaism and Masonry in general and the Holy Bible, they stole all this shit from Mercury. They stole all this shit from me. And this, I don't have to even say egoic like it's me. Translate it to M.E. Mercury, to Metatron. Objectively, when you go look up online, you're going to see that Metatron is worshipped by Jews as the voice of God. So here's a fucking paradox for you. How can Jews claim to be the only true son of God? Or how can Masons in general, how can Christians claim that they are the only true children of God when literally they worship Metatron as the voice of God? And more specifically, how can they worship Jesus as the only true son of God when they worship Metatron as the voice of God? Because you would think if Jesus is the one true son of God, then he would also be the voice of God, would he not? You would think that he would be the one speaking God into existence. They wouldn't worship Metatron as the voice of God, like Enoch fasting long enough to transform into Mercury and be the manager of Mercury, Metatron. He wouldn't be a god. He wouldn't be that if they did not actually steal all their shit from him, objectively. Otherwise, they wouldn't mention him in the Old Testament. He wouldn't be the only person in the Bible who didn't die. They just, it's so weird how they have to weaponize the truth to sell you lies. So this is what I'm here doing. Oh, man, Kundalini's here. Look, absolutely, bro. When are you going to come in here and share this story? I understand, you believe that you have awakened, and you have awakened. I'm just making the point before you get in here, all right? So it's transparent. Everyone's a child of God. If you believe that you're Jesus, that would paradoxically really mean that you believe you're the only child of God. So here's the thing is that Jesus was teaching that we're all children of God. Yes, that's what you see in Jesus. This is what everyone sees in Jesus. That's why I have 20 plus other people that I know who also say that they're Jesus, because everyone sees their individuality in him. My point is, this is Zoroastrian witchcraft that they stole from me to wrap your soul in the belief that you need to sacrifice yourself to the same structure that he did. So now you can support the same exact genocide that he did. Okay, Kundalini, you're saying I can open the box. Hold up. I'm looking. Settings, comment settings. Allow comments. God. Moderators. Nope. Man, I do not know. See, on my other account, I have the multi thing, but I do not have it on this account. Weird. Settings. Goddamn. Yeah, it doesn't even look like I can. So, all right. Well, very lame. Kundalini, I am trying to hear your story. It's clear, again, like even with a name like Kundalini, which we talked about in the last live stream, we're even just referring to the fact that Jesus is created from Eastern ideas. And the whole point of the Caduceus is that it created the Kundalini. Like Hermes actually brought the wisdom of the Kundalini to Earth with the Caduceus. That's why Indians recognize him as Zoroaster and then recognize the snakes. And I could go really deep into that. Maybe I will. Just a little bit. The snakes represent your desires to go outside of yourself. The staff is your desire to go inside of yourself. And then your wings are your desire to balance. So your desire to go outside of yourself, that's your body. Going inside of yourself, that's your soul. Your balance is your mind. You as a space are observing all this come together. And then that's all of us creating nature. And then that's you having a body. So then this is what brings us to being a child of God anyway. Again, because they stole all this shit from me. So being a child of God is you as a space knowing that you gave birth to yourself because you feel like connecting with individuals outside of yourself. So this is where then you get to learn about your ego, which is your God, your fire, and then your soul, which is your woman, that's your water. And when your ego and your fire come together, that's you creating the air. So that's literally what the child of God is. This is what it literally means to be a child of God. So notice like air, always breathing life into earth. If whatever earth body you're aware of, whatever earth body, whatever genes you're wearing to step out of your space, if you're not airing it through, if you're not breathing in and out, then it's not going to have the oxygen to actually work. It's not going to have the chi to actually conduct the energy that will allow you to be aware of the world that you chose to be in, right? So this is literally you as an infinite individual creating a circumstance where you can feel like you are finite creation. Because basically being an individual means that you're not really a creation. This is why space is individual. So the moment that you as a space become aware of your creation, that's you as an individual seeing what you made. But if you created something, that creation isn't really individual because a point of that creation was to connect with someone else. So this is where individuals can always get lost in any universe about like source consciousness. You know, just the idea like we all came from one place and we all need to go back to one place. No, absolutely fucking not. If you are aware of your own feelings, you came from yourself and you're going to go back to yourself. That's why you're scared of dying. Anyone who's scared of dying is simply scared of going back to their own space. But that's where you came from. So really, that's where if you died, you wouldn't go anywhere. If you died right now, you wouldn't go anywhere. That's what stops me from killing myself. Like if I actually killed myself, my like my family would just be there like shaking their heads. Like you are the biggest failure. You absolutely did not do what the point of having a body was. Because the point is you don't go anywhere. This is why heaven and hell are made up. This is hell. Where you're at is hell. Hell is when you choose to connect with individuals outside of yourself because you were unhappy alone. When you're unhappy alone and you choose to connect with people from that space, that is always going to lead to hell, because that's always going to go to chaos. It's always going to lead to you looking for God outside of yourself, because you don't feel like you are the God that put yourself in that circumstance. So because you don't feel like you are the God that put yourself in that circumstance, it's really easy to be manipulated by people who claim to have the answer outside of you. And that's basically the business of Masons. Like that's their whole job, is to teach you that breathing the air is dangerous. You need to get shot. Oh, but the first shot didn't protect you from the air. The second shot didn't protect you from the air. The fourth shot didn't protect you from the air. The eighth shot did not protect you from the air, but the air is still dangerous though. Don't breathe. And then that's them killing you. Because again, look, you as a child of God, you use air to bring life to the body. What kind of life are you going to live without breathing freely and openly? It's all witchcraft. They're so evil. So all they can do is weaponize what they've stolen from indigenous individuals against you. So this is all information that I shared in the libraries of Alexandria, not just Alexandria, but the libraries that really were the first internet that connected all these ancient civilizations around the world. That's how Egyptians were communicating with people in Mesoamerica. That's why there are pyramids everywhere. Well, you think that there are pyramids everywhere and they weren't sharing information? Makes no sense, right? The whole point of an atmosphere is to share air. So obviously, every civilization that had pyramid structures and knew about Hermeticism, knew about the emerald tablets, they were connected by Mercury. That's why we have emerald tablets in the Americas, in Mesoamerica with Quetzalcoatl, and then we have emerald tablets in Europe with Hermes, and we have different emerald tablets in Africa with Tahuti. We have different emerald tablets from Zoroaster, but they're keeping all that shit. Like, it's not hard to see that. You can go onto Google and then just do like 5 minutes of research and objectively see how the Masons who created Judaism, Christianity, and Islam did so by stealing everything they could from Hermeticism and Zoroastrianism, just so they could teach you that you're not good enough alone. Now I have to be here teaching you that you are good enough alone, but I don't even want to teach you that. You should just know that. But if you don't know that, then let me share with you why you are. So now it's like, I don't even want to teach you why you're good alone. I just want to share with you why you can create a heaven from being happy alone. You don't need to go to someone else's heaven. This is why the superhero culture is so big right now. This is all programmed. This is their biblical programming, literally. Someone in the last live stream asked, like, is the Bible, why did the Bible predict the New World Order? And let me just make this statement in this live stream, that the Bible is clearly predictive programming. It's ultimate predictive programming. It's ultimate predictive programming. The whole point of the Bible is for people to tell you what they're going to do if you keep believing in them. But they have to teach you that this is a prophecy that is the future. But the only way they can profit off of this prophecy is if they make it a projection that you perceive, and not only perceive, but believe in more than your own projections. That's how they profit off of prophecies. So they can say, oh, the prophecy, the world is going to burn, everyone's going to get the mark of the beast. Well, they're the ones using money to steal indigenous lands and shoot everyone with injections. So they're the ones spreading the mark of the beast. So for them to be the ones teaching you the religion that they want you to be scared of, that's how they make you a sheep. And then that's the whole point of, again, just more witchcraft. They literally say that Jesus is a shepherd, because the whole point is anyone who follows Jesus is supposed to be a sheep. Objectively. Like, this isn't bullying. This isn't me being mean. I'm literally talking about the objective words of what it means to be a shepherd. If you're a shepherd, it means you corral sheep. So the Masons created Jesus to be the shepherd that's supposed to corral all the sheep that they consider their populations. And then that's the whole point of them viewing everyone as livestock, really. They don't view you as humans. They view you as livestock. Jesus is a human. And real humans sacrifice themselves to the government so that livestock doesn't have to do what Jesus did. That's why most people out here aren't willing to fast. They worship him for fasting. But then the people in the government don't want to fast. They worship eating the body of Christ to gain salvation. So now I have to be here as Chase, as a space that built Mercury, actually fasting for years, just to talk with you from this natural perspective of how they stole everything from me And now I can just break down everything and deal with spiritual warfare because life is fucked up and the spiritual warfare is super crazy and boo, whatever. So now I had to do this live stream again. And it went so hard those last 3 hours because I was saying it was just naturally happening. And now it's like I'm overthinking and I'm angry. And that's never a good combination for communication ever. Being emotional and overthinking, you're not going to have good conversations from that space. So now it's like I have to constantly find balance inside of myself just to remember what I calmly wanted to talk about. But then I get upset because I remember how I said it right perfectly and how it was all connected well in the last live stream that I don't get to have. Because this app decided that I don't get to keep my own information. And then that's the risk that I run by talking with structures outside of myself. Because best believe I, as God, when I'm alone in my own space, my technology doesn't fail like this. Or my technology doesn't sabotage me like this. Or I don't get booted out of my own social media. So obviously, I'm an individual God interacting with gods outside of myself because I'm not in control of what other people do, say, or think. And that's always true when you connect with a space outside of yourself. So God, as a word in epitome, is control. When people are all like, why God? Why me? Like, where's God? They're simply asking their space why they've created a circumstance where they feel the way that they feel right now. It's that simple. But no one can talk to God for you. If I let people talk to God for me, do you think I'd be up here speaking to you as Metatron? The fuck? Like in any way, shape, or form? The fuck? Absolutely not. It would make no sense. Do you think if I let anyone talk to God for me, I would have fasted 24 days 4 years ago and then been fasting for like weeks and days and multiple times doing that on some kind of repeat pattern for the last 4 years to consistently get into a more psychedelic space? Like, would that be possible if I listened to people outside of myself? I promise you, this whole journey came from me as Chase talking to Iracel. And Iracel has only recently revealed that he's Metatron because this is the most organic way that I can communicate my newness about how all this shit was stolen from me. I'm not clinging to shit from the past. I'm not clinging to anything to be seen as anything from the past. The point is, I'm CymaTree. But as CymaTree, I'm updating Mercury, and Mercury connects all of my past lives. So if you see anyone claiming to be Hermes, but they're not claiming to be Tahuti, if you see anyone claiming to be Odin, but they're not claiming to be Zoroaster, if anyone's claiming to be Nabu, but they're not Idris, if anyone's claiming to be Ningishzida, but they're not Chikatet, they're all demons because this is what demons do, just like the Masons. All they do is cling on to something that they want to be seen as, but they can't even see how it actually connects throughout space and time. So they're not, man. I was about to say some whatever, bro. They're really not they're not shit. They're just not shit. That's the real difference between a consumer and a creator. When you're a creator, you see how what you manifested came out of space. When you're a consumer, you can't see where what was created came from. So all you can do is get lost in the creation based on your own feelings, where you're coming from. And then that's where the point is, you're supposed to learn about where you're coming from with what someone else created. So that's what we're doing right now. Right now, me as a space. I built this body. I'm creating life with you right now by choosing to communicate and choosing to still talk into TikTok. So now you can co-create a circumstance where you're aware of me and now you're talking to yourself based on how I'm talking to myself. But you're talking to yourself internally. I'm talking to myself externally because I'm bringing fire, you're bringing more water, and then this is us creating an atmosphere that allows us to build Earth right now, just literally right now. That's basic Hermeticism. This is why the present moment is a gift. Woohoo. Have you ever read the book called Stolen Legacy? I have not. I have never heard of the book Stolen Legacy. I mean, I can check it out. It sounds like it might be historical. I like historical books. Yee. Perfect book. I'll check this out. Look, because there's just so much knowledge in the world. So here's what my challenge is. I, as Mercury, I'm the documenter of the metaverse. So the metaverse is the concept of how every universe in existence is connected by your mind. Me, as Mercury, I build astrology so universes can conduct business. That's literally where I'm actually the builder of nature in that way. That's the point of symmetry. So when you know that your Mercury is your mind and you built a mind so you can build a body that conducts business, now you know the space that Hermes is coming from. You know what it means to have multiple past lives. You know what it means to be Spider-Man. Okay, because that's who Spider-Man is. That's where Marvel stole Spider-Man from Hermes, naturally being Mercury, talking to you about me, talking to you about your Merkaba energy. How does your mind fly out of your space so you can be aware of this universe, of this universe, of this universe? How can you see how all these universes are connected by the webs that your soul weaves to relate with spaces outside of yourself? You'll never be able to run away from yourself. This is the point of the soul, and that's the point of weaving webs. If you chose to connect with the universe, that's because you feel like expressing yourself into that universe. So you can't paradoxically say that you are not yourself or that you're not creating the circumstance to be aware of yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have a heart, and thus you wouldn't make art. Everyone here, I'm pretty sure everyone's trying to be an artist at this point in life, and that's everyone trying to find their heart is. Where's my heart is? My artist. Where's my heart is? I need to find my heart is, my artist. Like literally, that's it. Just know where your heart is, and your heart being your mind, then you just have it. Like that's actually you creating all of your imagination at that point. If you believe that your mind was created by someone else's imagination, you're not going to have your own art. You like the point of everything I'm saying here is that your heart, in this case, is a physical manifestation of your Merkaba becoming matter. The moment your heart stops beating, your mind stops mattering. Your body still matters, but do people give a fuck about your body without your mind? I haven't met anyone in my life who really gives a fuck about my body without me communicating through it. So we know that we are using these bodies so our minds can communicate. That's the point of me, your Mercury, your Merkaba. That's your Spider-Man energy. And you would have to know then that you created your mind by combining your ego and your soul. That's you having sex internally before you can even create the circumstance to have sex with other people externally. Simple. This is why masculine and feminine play out. This is where all my hermetic shit comes from. I'm just giving you like the real indigenous perspective, the real Zoroastrian perspective, the real Metatron perspective, before Masons and Jews twist it into a bunch of bastardized lies that really are just only working to make you hate yourself. That's all these religions do. When I go look at spirituality on the internet, everything is just like some weird twisting of my wisdom to teach me that I'm not me and teach me to hate myself. There's no excuse as to why Christianity and Judaism should take wisdom from Hermeticism just to teach you that you are not happy alone. That's only them going backwards, objectively. That's literally them stealing what already worked so that they can build something that makes you work. Because the point is, you already work. You know that your consciousness works. You know that your space works. If your consciousness and your space didn't work, you wouldn't be alive on Earth. So the moment someone has to convince you that you did not create yourself, I promise you, infinitely, in all realms and realities, they're only trying to convince you to work for them because they need your energy to work for them. So you had to work for yourself to even create a circumstance where you could work for someone else, which is why logically, you're not going to work for people that don't seem to be working for you. That's then where this Christian Judeo government has to act like it's helping the indigenous peoples, that it's actively stealing and violently raping. Like they have to kill kids with kindness, kill kids kindly, KKK. That's the whole point. Again, only I can seemingly say this shit because I naturally make these connections. So it's whatever. I can't run away from being myself. It feels good to be me. It feels good to be Metatron. And really, I'm CymaTree. Fuck Metatron. But the point is, I can't run away from me. So I'm just building off of my past shit. And here we are. We're all building off of our past shit. That's the point of a relationship, right? When I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to build upon the relationships that I had cultivated up to that point. Everything that happens today is something I'm going to build upon tomorrow. Every day is a brick that is laid. Every day is architected into a pyramid that allows you to see yourself. That's like really what the pyramid is. When you know that your body is the pyramid, the real temple that supports your eye. When we look at the back of the dollar bill, right? Mason stole this shit. You see the pyramid with the eye at the top. The point is you knowing that you built your body as a pyramid to support your imagination. So now everything that you want to see is going to manifest into the reality that you're projecting into. And that's why the pyramid actually spreads out like a projector from your eye. And it's never ending, like a Goku Kamehameha, technically. I mean, and that's esoterically. Of course, physically, the structure has to end. But the point is, spiritually, you build a pyramid so you can always ascend. That's why I then brought up Dragon Ball Z, right? Like in Dragon Ball Z, their bodies aren't always getting bigger muscles, but they're always getting stronger. See, like it wouldn't make sense if you always got bigger when you got stronger. It wouldn't make sense. So this is us finding the balance of energy and knowing that energy, the body is a conduit for energy. That's why in Dragon Ball Z, it's not about how big a character is. It's about how much chi can they fucking conduct in their cells, right? Like that's all power. You can be small as fuck, like Bruce Lee. You can be the smallest ant ever. If you conduct more chi in your cells than The Rock, you're gonna beat The Rock up. It doesn't matter how big his body is. It literally doesn't matter how big his body is. It does not matter. It looks like it matters, but his actual energy that he's communicating from is not as great as yours. So thus, when he punches you, even though his muscles look all big and shit, he's The Rock. If you have a higher power level than him, like Dragon Ball Z talks about, again, this is Zoroastrianism. If your chi, if your cells can conduct more energy than his punch is not going to move your body. Right? This is hermetic science right here. This is why they're obsessed with superheroes, but they teach you to worship the idea of sacrificing yourself to the same structure that their superhero sacrificed himself to. That's the whole point of Jesus justifying the genocide that the Roman government spreads to Native Americans. And this is why no Christian has ever apologized to me about spreading genocide. They all feel like they're justified in what they do because that was the point. So everything I'm saying is straight facts, by the way, because the point is, I'm talking about where Masons stole their information from. So I'm giving you the wisdom. Now you know why Masons have named the new version of Facebook the Metaverse. It's about Metatron. It's about them playing Mercury, because playing Mercury is playing God. Because the closest thing you can be to an all-powerful God is basically creating structures that allow other gods to conduct business. That's what Metatron does. That's objectively what Metatron does. Metatron builds structures that allow other gods to conduct business. That's why he's considered by Jews as the voice of God, because he actually creates the word of God. Notice how the word of God does not matter without the voice. So how can you have the word of God without the voice of God? It sounds like Metatron is the one that spoke their idea of God into existence. They just can't fully admit it because they have to lie to you. They have to. Like if they don't lie to you, then they don't have power. That's literally the government. That's literally them. That's their systems. That's what they do. If they don't lie to you, then they don't have power. So they have to use the truth to sell a lie. That's why all these movies are super relatable, right? All these multiverse movies that are out now, right? Like people didn't learn about the multiverse in their religions. I mean, no one in Christianity, no one in Judaism learned about multiple universes and how they exist at multiple points because their space is having many experiences at one time. Nah, they stole that shit from me, from Spider-Man. That's why Marvel has the Spider-Verse and then they have the Metaverse. They're so whack. I wish I had this last live stream. But I'm not in control of spaces outside of myself. So the whole idea of one God controlling everything is beyond ugly, it's beyond disgusting, and it's beyond evil. It erases all individuality and it promotes incest. Because literally, if a Christian's going to tell me that I was created by someone I've never met, I fasted for so many years up to this point, I've still never met Jesus. I've still never met Yahweh. The only time I meet Yahweh is when I'm down here. Down here. But when I'm in Atlantis and when I'm in Mercury, I do not see Yahweh. And when I have taken my fucking Merkaba and traveled all across the universe and the fucking metaverse, because I guess it's connected by me leaving my space to go conduct business with the Caduceus, still haven't met Yahweh. Still haven't met Jesus. I've met a bunch of gods, a bunch of infinite individuals. Guess where Yahweh exists, though? Here. Yahweh exists here. Through what? Through everyone's minds. Through that fucking word. Like, it's a word. It's a word that you are giving all your power to because it's colonizing your idea of God. And again, they stole that shit from me. They, like, just Yahweh is actually Zoroastrian magic. Like, I'm telling you that everything that the Jews and Masons have is stolen from Zoroastrianism. You can look it up. It's just you're not going to find all of the evidence because the point is they're keeping it all for themselves. But you will find historians saying what I'm saying. I'm not just a random dude, a random 25-year-old up here saying this. If you need to trust way more sources, which you should, because that's how the truth works, it takes all of us coming together and holding each other accountable for what happened in reality, you can go see that there's infinite history showing how everything that Jews have was stolen from Zoroastrianism. I'm just here to make it connect and make it make sense because I actually have the information in my space of Mercury. That's the point of Mercury. And that's the point of me getting called away into any simulation. When people get so far away from the truth that they don't know what's real anymore, that's where you find me. Straight up, that's where you find CymaTree. That's the point of me being alive. Otherwise, again, I'd just be happy alone in Atlantis doing Mercury shit. So the reason I'm here is because we're supposed to be going through an awakening. I'm supposed to be helping people awaken. And I really care about everyone waking up in their divine time and everyone having a synchronicity, because the whole point of you being a space is that you are the synchronicity. Listen to my podcast, by the way. My podcast, if you like my live streams, you'll love my podcast. My podcast is me going hard in spirituality, but in a way that is not me having to be worried about getting kicked off alive like I just did. So at least when you listen to a podcast, you're about to get like straight up uncensored. Yahweh, that's Zoroastrian magic. So them taking Yahweh from Zoroaster is basically them trying to manipulate you to believe that when Yahweh, when Zoroaster uses it, he's telling you that Yah is the way, because really Yah is the frequency that relates the most with you being joyful that you created yourself. Like, just like, this is like subconscious Zoroastrianism. You're not going to find it on the internet or anything. This is the shit that only Zoroaster can bring. Yah is literally you being excited that you created yourself. It's basically you saying yes to who you are. So once you say Yah, you're affirming your creation, Yah. And then once you go way, where does your Yah go? Way out of your space. So Yahweh is literally you as a space showing how you agree to move in a certain direction. Yahweh. I agree. Let's take a direction. And that's always life. That's how God moves. So notice, like, boom, they can't explain that to you because they're not the creators of these words. I'm the creator of these ideas in general. So even when they try to talk about them with words I didn't make up, now I have to learn these words and then I can talk about it better than them. So that's Yahweh. Your Yahweh is you as God showing you, Yah, which way to go. Yahweh. So when you listen to God personally through fasting, again, your personal relationship with God, then Yah is always going to be the way, because you're always going to be affirmed in your yes of what you're supposed to do. The people who are religious are people who don't feel like they know what they're supposed to do. Those are the people who are looking for God outside of themselves. And then again, boom, Masons, learn from me, and then weaponize my wisdom to teach you that your Yah is not the way, their Yah is the way, Yahweh. So this is where you get child abduction. And now these systems are obsessed with child abduction. They're obsessed with trafficking, and they're obsessed with taking your mind, taking your Merkaba, and keeping it out of its space. So, I mean, that's just straight up their witchcraft. And I mean, I'm the only one who can cut it up. Again, I wish I could watch someone else do this and not do it myself. But that's not how with great power comes great responsibility works. I'm literally forced to do a Spider-Man life. I'm forced to realize that if this is my power, I have to take responsibility. And boom, right there, that's the difference of fire and water. So for everyone, your power is your Yahweh. When you realize that your Yah is the way, it's now your responsibility to be the voice of God. So that's the difference of fire and water. So again, me as Metatron, I made this shit up. They stole it all from me, so I can explain it way better. Literally, your Yahweh is your fire. That's your imagination about which way you want to say yes to. And then your water is the voice. That's the vibration, the vibe that actually makes your frequency real. So your Yahweh is frequency, your voice is vibration. Once you give vibration to your frequency, you create energy that matters. That's how I build this live stream. That's how you build social media posts. This is how we get up and have conversations. That's how that tree grows. That's why that bird flies. That's why we can eat food. All this, like boom, it's literally fire, water, air, earth. Now it can transform into a constant creation that allows us to be aware of the universe, which then lets us realize who we are. I literally just took us through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Metatron, math shit, very nice, stolen from me. So your Yahweh is your own imagination. And when you know that you as a space chose to be born, because that's the only way you could express your imagination to individuals outside of yourself, then boom, this is where you have consent in the universe. And this is the idea of you being your own superhero. There's really no higher perspective than this. And then from here, you would use the system of astrology to work for yourself. So Americans overall, especially Americans, they don't know about their moon sign. They don't know about their ascendant sign. They don't know about their Mercury sign. They don't know about their Venus sign, their Mars sign. They don't know about their Neptune sign, their Jupiter sign. They don't know about their North Node or their South Node. They don't know about how they as a space chose to be born at a certain time so that they could correlate their structure with other structures and relate with individuals outside of themselves. The only reason Americans don't know this is because Masons stole all of their wisdom from Mercury and are using it to trap you in a matrix. So now I have to be back talking about how you're supposed to liberate yourself from your body, and that's all the Emerald Tablet shit. So when you go look up the Emerald Tablets, they weaponize what I'm talking about to you right now. They have to weaponize all this stuff about how, oh, these Emerald Tablets, they awaken you, and you can raise your vibration, and you can become a better, bigger individual based on your energetic body. But they're not objectively talking to you about space at all. That's why I have all these Emerald Tablet series where I have to cut up those demons and talk about how all this shit on the internet is fake. So, I mean, I just have to build whole new shit. This is like insane. This is actually insane. And it's just like starting from this groundwork of planting a seed, which literally is my father's seed, being planted into my mom's egg, being born as a baby inside the matrix, and then being grown and raised from this Masonic matrix point so that I could naturally actually walk the path of Jesus instead of just talk the talk like most people. And then by doing that, I realized that Iracel, my spirit who I was talking to my entire life, was actually Metatron the whole time. And I'm forced to take responsibility for my power. Can't run away from it. So here we are. You are a child of God because you as a space created the ability to express your own Yahweh. So all a Mason can do from here is steal this wisdom from me and then teach you that you should do for yourself. You should do for them what you should do for yourself. So they want you to do for them what you should do for yourself. You should follow your own Yahweh, but the reason that you even know about Yahweh is because a Mason needed to teach you to follow their Yahweh. But then here's the paradox of spirituality. You create a circumstance where you're forced to believe in yourself. Otherwise, you're forced to believe in people who are only using your energy to work against you. So it's really, what are you going to do? Are you going to use your energy to work for yourself, or are you going to use your energy to work against yourself? Again, the paradox is, if you don't believe that you created yourself, you're going to think that it's good and sensical and it's all fine and dandy to actually work for someone outside of yourself, because they convinced you that you did not create yourself. It's just then going to be a weird process of being in that religion. You can be in that religion for 50 years and then find out that God never gave a fuck about you. And I think it says that in the Bible, like, where there's a part in the Bible where it talks about God turning away his followers, and how all these people who actually follow Yahweh, well, he doesn't follow you. It's not a fucking two-way street. What the fuck? Like, he's literally trying to get billions of followers so that everyone can think about him when they masturbate at night, but he has no idea who these motherfuckers are. He just knows that he's making money. Like, this is how Masons then view sheep. So everyone who believes that Jesus actually died for the government to spread genocide is now a sheep that's going to justify said genocide. Now, no one who worships Jesus cares about how indigenous peoples have been killed in his name. Everyone keeps saying that it's okay. What? That's so, man, wild. That's wild. And it's like, if you're an actual spiritual individual, you're not even able to put yourself in a space where you can feel like it's okay to justify murder with someone else. And especially, you're not going to be able to be in a space where you're convinced that you weren't good enough alone and that you needed to go serve someone else based on them giving you rules. So it's truly just a matter of like everyone fighting themselves. But we are creating a circumstance where we don't have to fight ourselves alone, because no one wants to be alone. If you're alive, it's because you don't want to be alone. I'm alive. I want to be alone. That's why I have to remind myself not to die every day. Because I don't really want to be here. I'm here because I was called here. And now I have to like remind myself why I want to be here. And this is the difference of spirituality versus physical reality. So you got to find balance as a spirit. Like, when you start to get too much into your spirituality, you actually won't give a fuck about your whole physical life. And you would very well throw away everything that you had built up for the last 20 something years, all because you remembered who you were, remembered that you don't feel like being alive here, and you remember that this body is actually separating you from your space. But then that's where you would have to go connect with your space, hang out in your space, and then remember why you didn't want to be in your space alone anymore. I don't want to be in my space alone anymore because I like making art with other awesome individuals. Now, there's not really many awesome artists in this world technically right now, because everyone's been programmed to be a Masonic consumer. But the fact that everyone has a heart means that everyone has a potential to make art, because that's how you built this fucking body, and that's how you speak anything. Like, everything you do is art. Your whole life is one art project. In that case, it's one heart project. If you did not have a heart, nothing would matter to you, and you would be alone in your space, because nothing would matter to you. Nothing would matter to you if you did not have a heart. It's because you have a heart. This heart is your something. I wish I could like just have virtual reality painting all of my words every time I'm speaking. And that's the level I'm trying to get at. So that each time I'm on a live stream or some shit, when I'm speaking, I can have virtual reality showing. Because it's literally about like correlating the words. Nothing is spirit. Something is physical reality. So when you don't have a heart, nothing matters, which means that you would just be happy alone because your space matters. But then because your space only matters to you, you want to make a heart that connects your space with other spaces. And that heart is the actual structure that shows you that something matters. So now, once I get back into my physical reality, into my physicality, I look out, I see what my heart's connected to, which is my family. And then I see that my family matters. Nothing outside of my family really matters. I mean, that's what my heart's connected to. And then that's, again, true for everybody. And that's the point of you having a heart, is that you as a space are creating a structure that allows you to relate with spaces outside of yourself. And the spaces that you feel like relating with consistently become the spaces that you make art with, that you make heart with, that you make earth with, Notice that heart and earth, same exact letters. No coincidence. Earth is considered the heart. That's why everyone wants to be here. That's why everyone wants to make hearts here on earth. Because really, earth is about making the heart real. And then once you have a heart that's real, you can now build a family. Earth is 4, family is 5. That's the blood. So once you have your heart, now you can pump blood through your cells. So if I did not have a heart, if something did not matter to me, I would not create the blood that could pump energy through these cells. And then I would not create the circumstance where I could have a family. And now I would not be able to show who I am to any space outside of myself. And I would be actually forever alone. And that is a sad thing, you know, because it doesn't matter how happy you are alone forever. Like you can be happy alone with yourself forever. But at some point, you're going to realize that it's not a productive life to be alone. That's why Christians are so backwards. It's so like, why would you want to believe that we are all one person talking to himself? Why would you as a Jew want to believe that we are all one individual talking to himself? I do know why. Once you talk to me, I always see that it's because you have a soul you don't want to take responsibility for. You have feelings about your own space that I don't know about, that you don't want to take responsibility for. That's like your fucked up past lives. So now you're going to use your mind right now to teach me that I'm not responsible for my own space, because projection is perception. Thank you for all your guidance. Absolutely. Breaking generational curses by being celibate. I believe that. Yeah, breaking generational curses is big right now too. Oh yeah, I translated. I translated. Yeah, that's like all soul contracts and like binds. And yeah, the whole idea of a curse is that it's a spell that is lower vibrational and keeping you trapped in a certain construct or a certain story that isn't actually serving you. It's the no way. It's not the Yahweh, right? You don't want to curse, no way. Yahweh, no way. Into the two opposite directions. You want the Yahweh, you don't want the no way. Curses, spells like that, no way, right? So this is where fasting and being celibate, for sure, fasting and being celibate raises your vibration. Being celibate raises your vibration because you are focusing on being alone in your own space. So when you're not having sex with spaces outside of yourself, you're not sharing energy with other spirits. And now that's literally getting lost in hell the more you have sex with other people. This is why hookup culture in America is so big. It's literally supposed to keep people lost in hell. If people weren't hooking up as much and like focused on like the next partner and 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 the next partner, then the next partner and the next partner, and then thinking about like how they want like this kind of person, this kind of, if they literally just weren't thinking, then that's what leads you to porn, right? Because that's literally porn as I'm thinking about it. Like basically like actually thinking about porn for a second, the whole point of porn is that you as an individual space feel like you're having more partners than you actually do. And the more you watch porn and the more you feel like you have more partners than you actually do, that's where you end up getting programmed by the way in which you're connecting with people. So this is what hell is, like you losing control over your communication ability. And people go to celibacy when they realize that they've been too lost in chaos. They've been too lost in their emotions. They're not actually in control of how they're communicating. They need to get back to their space. And then that's the whole point of cleaning yourself, right? Like literally a virgin. This is then Virgo energy. Boom. The whole idea of cleaning your temple. Absolutely. I mean, I feel you. I feel you. Absolutely. I mean, and I've been feeling you, Kundalini. That's why I want you to share your story. But again, I had to be upfront with the history of Jesus. So now when you come up and talk about why you feel like Jesus, we can get all into that. Absolutely. But I would hope that you actually feel more powerful than Jesus based on everything that I've shared here and everything that I'm going to be sharing. Because if you are Jesus, then that would mean that you're literally just my student. And I'm here talking about how Jesus is not real. So that's even just sort of a paradox. where at that point, yeah, just learn that you are an infinite individual, but Jesus represents who you want to be. But I'm here as Zarathustra, as Zoroaster, saying that's witchcraft. You don't want to get sacrificed by your own government. I don't know how they made people look up to that, but they did. And it took me fasting for years even to just like be able to communicate like this. But I've subconsciously been on this. It's just like the path that my spirit has me. I can't do shit too fast, I guess. Maybe even if I was on this wave 4 years ago, people actually really would not have been ready for it. There is some sort of shift where everyone every day is waking up. Everyone every day is waking up in small incremental ways that really can't be understated. Because once you wake up a little bit, once you become a little more aware of the reality you're in, the only way you can become less aware is to die. Right? So this is why most people like to be unaware of things that make them uncomfortable. Because the moment they become aware of something uncomfortable, they have no choice but to either change or die. So that's, again, Americans supporting cannibalism, right? This whole government with sex trafficking, everyone is supporting sex trafficking in these religions. They don't want to be aware of that shit. Like most people in my life, they don't want to hear me talk about the children trapped at the border and how Jesus is used to justify calling indigenous peoples illegal aliens. That shouldn't be possible, but it's justified by Masons using Jesus to spread their religion, to spread their money, to spread their government. Yeah. This is a long time coming for me. Absolutely, Kundalini. I mean, again, like feel like Jesus, but just know that Jesus is way bigger than your idea of Jesus. So I have to be here cutting this up for you. Like literally, like Jesus, think about like Jesus can walk on water, but that's actually Naruto. So when you go watch Naruto, right? When you go watch Naruto and you see how all the ninjas walk on water, that's them all taking from Zoroastrianism. This is the Masons all stealing from Zoroastrianism because Zoroaster was teaching you how you can use your chi to conduct yourself through reality. And then that's the idea of then using your energy to be able to move in environments you otherwise could not. Like if you can stand on water, then perhaps that's you being able to use your energy to conduct chi that actually balances out the weight of your body on that water. So if you can conduct chi through the soles of your feet in a way that balances out the weight of your body on water, you're Jesus now. Look at that. You're Naruto and you're Jesus as one entity. You don't have to identify as either of them. Know that this is all Zoroastrian. Know that this is what the Masons stole from Zoroaster and then they turn into religion and all these different shows so that you can worship the idea of being powerful, but outside of yourself instead of inside of yourself. And spiritually, the real idea of actually walking on water in the Jesus way is it's not about physically walking on water, but I'm just bringing it to that level because it's fun. And I mean, we can have superpowers and shit. It's just about us conducting our chi. But spiritually, it reflects how you are not drowning in the emotions of that world, which is how you would manifest superpowers in the first place. Because if you were drowning in the emotions of the world, that means you don't feel like you're in control of your circumstance. If you don't feel like you're in control of your circumstance, you're nowhere close to the space of being able to have superpowers. So literally, you're just not even going to feel like it's realistic to have superpowers. You're only going to be able to connect with the world based in the emotions that you're drowning in. So esoterically, that's what most people are lost in right now. Most people in the world are drowning in their emotions of how Masons have programmed them, how the government has fucked up everything. So because most people are drowning in their emotions, they're drowning in the Bible, they're drowning in Marvel, they're drowning in Masonic programming overall, they don't feel like they can have superpowers. Thus, they're not going to put themselves in a space where they have superpowers. They're going to keep looking up to the Son of God. So this literally plays out in nature. They're drowning in their emotions, but then they're looking up to the Son of God. They're looking up the bright star and being like, oh, it would be so great to have the superpower to not drown in my emotions. I wish I could breathe. But if they knew how to use their Merkaba from Metatron to actually raise their vibration through fasting, then they'd be able to fly in the air. They wouldn't be drowning in their emotions. They wouldn't be drowning in their water. They'd actually be flying in the atmosphere above the water, and they'd be able to see way more. And they would realize that they are the Son of God and that we're all stars flying through space. The whole point is that we have to connect with each other if we're going to see each other. If we're not connected, we're not going to see each other for how separate we are. So everyone in here is separate from each other, but if we did not choose to connect with each other, we would not be able to use this English language to express how we are not the same. But the point is, we had to create a balanced circumstance. We had to create a circumstance where we don't feel like being alone in our imagination. So now we build a body where we can feel like we're the same with others. And that's the whole point of family. That's like what everyone's doing then. Everyone feels like they're the same as their tribe, because that's why you use your individuality to create a circumstance. But guess what happens in any group you're in? You're always reminded that you are an individual. No matter how much you get along with someone, you're not going to get along with them like that always and forever. Now, Anubis and I are special, but the point is, for most relationships, for most people, when you interact with other individuals and you build a relationship with them, that relationship is not going to last or like be the same way forever. The whole point is that you're learning about your individuality by connecting with another individual. Now, you can say that you're not an individual, but at some point, you're going to have to separate from that religion, that government, or that system. And the only way you're going to be able to do it is as an individual. So it's always you as an individual, infinite spirit, space, choosing to connect with spaces outside of yourself. And you're always, that ego is your fire that's always going to separate you. So your egoic desire is always going to separate you from spaces. And your soulful water is always going to connect you to spaces. And then the point of your mind is to balance how you communicate your space from the internal to the external, and to balance how other spaces get to communicate their external into your internal, right? Because if you did not have a mind to be aware of the body, you wouldn't be able to process anything I'm saying. So it's that two-way street of balance and us understanding alchemy, fire, water, air, earth, ego, soul, mind, body. You could not have a body if your mind was not created by the combination of fire and water. And if you as a space can observe your own fire and water, you're God, you are the infinite individual that is choosing to feel like expressing your imagination. It's just really easy then for most people to be like, oh, but you're not God, because if you were God, you'd be able to build something right here. You could manifest a star, you could shoot a fireball, or you could fly, or you could defy the laws of physics, because that's where people just love to get in their ego. There's why God is the ego. God is the ego. God is literally the ego. Your idea of God is your idea of your ego. If your idea of God is not relatable to the space that you're in, people are always going to say that you're in your ego when you start to express yourself. It never fails. It never fails because they have no better words. This is naturally how humans interact, and just like what people are trying to communicate when they feel those types of ways. When people feel like your idea of God is not relatable, they're going to say that it's egoic. So this is how religion has been weaponized to trap people here very hard as well. Most people here are like, oh, if you don't believe that one God created everything, then you're egoic and you're demonic and we need to kill you. And it's like, whoa, but your ego is so fucked up. You're trying to say that every individual that you have not met ever, seen and unseen, was created by one man that we've never met. What kind of ugly ass paradox is that? God damn, that's so wild. It was a long time coming for me. Absolutely feel you. Do you exist from my perspective? Or is it I who creates all? Elephant God, we all create ourselves. So the point is, you create your thoughts and your feelings. Like every thought that you have is something that you're creating, and then you're creating the feeling of connecting with that thought and really having it in the first place. So it's like feeling an emotion, but then that feeling is sort of an awareness of an idea. So that's the whole fire point. Your man. Your man is your awareness, and your woman is your emotion. If you were not emotional about being aware of your own space, you would not create the circumstance to do so. And then if you were not emotional about sharing your awareness of your own space, then you would not build a mind that allows, you would not build a body that allows your mind that you made from being aware of your own awareness, from feeling emotions about your own awareness. That's how you create your mind. Do I want to start this over? God damn it. Basically, your woman is your water, your man is your fire. If you, as a space, did not feel like being aware of yourself, you would not create a mind. If you, as a space, did not feel like you wanted other people to be aware of how you are aware of yourself, then you would not have built a body. So that's where the mind and the body are different. Your mind is you being aware of how you feel about your own space or how you emotionally connect with your own ideas. That's all internal. That's your mind, internal. But then the point of your body is so that you can make your internal real with the external. So everyone is creating life right now. Everyone is choosing to express their fire and water by making a mind that can communicate through a body. This is how we all transform, so we can manipulate the environment and build families out of our sexual energy. And then in general, our families allow us to make simulations that then we can be consciously aware of. And it's all about you choosing to connect with spaces outside of yourself. So, I mean, everything that you can see exists. Like, it's not hard then at that point, right? Like, obviously I exist if you can ask me if I exist and I'm giving you this sort of answer. So whatever. I understand, but I have all the astrological proof on top of other observations over many years. All right, Kundalini, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, absolutely. I'm down to hear. Please, please. I'm definitely down. Yeah, being lonely ain't it. We like company. Yeah, it's you just gotta be happy alone. But then you can be happy alone for eons, right? At some point, you do become lonely. At some point, because you just always come to a point where you want to connect with a space outside of yourself, because you're not sharing anything with anyone. Like, at some level, no matter how happy you are alone, you can be the happiest alone. But then from that happiness, you can't share it with anyone. Like, you're just sharing it with yourself. You're just one God talking to yourself, being happy alone. And everyone inside of your space is supposed to reconnect with you and realize that you're using them to be happy alone. No, see, that's them weaponizing the Metatron energy of talking to yourself. For sure, that's them weaponizing it very hard. But it doesn't make sense from an empathetic standpoint at all. And it doesn't make sense from even a actual desire organic standpoint. If you organically want to connect with spaces outside of yourself, then you're going to create something that lets you do that. And that's what life is. That's how life works. That's what nature is. Every tree is growing. Every plant is growing. Every single organism in existence is growing because spaces want to connect with spaces outside of themselves. So now they build souls that allow them to make structures to do so. And this is why everything vibrates. Your soul is a vibration. Your thing is the matter, the structure. So no material is going to materialize, or no energy is going to matter if it's not vibrating at a certain frequency. So you can't run away from your vibration. Your vibration is what makes you run. So yeah, Kundalini, I'm totally down for you to share your story and your astrological proof and everything. I don't know why I cannot, god damn, get you in here. So it will have to wait until my other account is not banned anymore. Yeehaw. Silly. And maybe I just said everything I wanted to say anyway. Because really, this is about you as a child of God, knowing that your chi is your mind. And your ability to conduct energy is your ability to be mental. So then this is where we get the idea of telekinesis and the idea of having all superpowers are mental. This is then Tahuti talking to you about superpowers. All superpowers are mental. All superpowers are going to be you conducting chi, because that's you communicating how you feel about your imagination or how you connect with your imagination. So if you can imagine anything and you feel like it's real, boom, your energy is going to manifest to make that shit real. And then that's how material happens. So you have to feel like your body is real before you can actually build a body that is real. This is what you're going to see in anything on the internet, right? When we get into manifestation. And America is obsessed with manifest your destiny. So I don't want to hear any Americans saying that manifestation is garbage when their entire culture is built on stealing from indigenous individuals so that they can manifest their destiny. Don't want to hear it. All right. Goddamn. So your ability to manifest is, as we've seen on the internet and in America, your ability to feel like your imagination is true, even though there's no proof of it externally. Right? That's where we know that actually everything's a lie before it becomes a truth. Right? So people can be here like, oh, you're lying. You're not actually Hermes. You're not actually this. And then it's like, okay, cool. Well, what am I? And then they would have to tell me who I am. And now it's like, okay, so now you're my God, because now you're the one who's creating my reality. Now I would have to listen to you teach me about myself instead of me fasting and doing all the actual work that none of these Masons want to do. I would look beyond stupid to actually fall into that. But that's what people want me to do. That's what people want you to do then. When you don't know yourself, people want to tell you who you are so that they can trap you. That's why most people perceive me as black, when that was an idea made up by Masons to erase indigenous individuals. But now I'm too deep in the matrix to even be perceived by any white people as Native American or as indigenous. People look at me, they're like, oh, you're black, you're B-lack. You're supposed to be-lack the land that we are stealing from you. You're supposed to be-lack the creations that we're stealing from you. You're supposed to be-lack the body and security and safety and support that we're stealing from you. That's literally the witchcraft that white people have, because white people are right people. Look at that. Be-lack and right. So no matter how wrong white people are, they're always right, because that's the frequency of white. And then no matter how right black people are, they will always be lack, because that's the frequency of black. So this is them weaponizing, okay, spirituality against everybody. So now most Americans identify their race as a fucking color. A color that they don't even know hermetically plays out the same in all realities based on its vibrational frequency. So, hey, now I gotta be here teaching. All right, again, check out chasergenes.com. Okay, I have a lot of videos. I have a lot of content. I have a lot of podcasts. We've got a lot popping off. It's pretty cool. I think that's it. I think I've shared everything I want to share, because the point is you being the child of God, everyone being an infinitely individual child of God. And from there, you're your own superhero. So now when you know that you are the child of God because you as a space vibrate at a certain frequency to create the energy that matters, now it's all up to you to conduct your chi in a way that makes more sense for your Yahweh. Much love to everybody. I'm out of here. Peace out. Absolutely Kundalini. We'll definitely keep in touch. We'll have you on once I'm able to come back on to my other account. And then boom, we'll talk about Jesus and your spiritual awakening, and it'll be lit. Yay. Much love to everybody. Peace out. Yeah.